Hi, I'm Father Joe Krupp, pastor at Holy Family in Grand Blanc and St. Mark and Goodrich, and I don't feel well. I don't feel well at all. In fact, like when I touch this, it feels like cloth. Get it? I don't feel well. I don't feel well, and this feels like cloth to me. I'm not feeling well. I'm not feeling accurate. All right, hello, I'm Father Joe, pastor of Holy Family in Grand Blanc and St. Mark and Goodrich, and I'm here to answer your questions. So let's dive right in. Look at this puppy. Okay. Whoo! All right, groovy. We're taught to pray for the deceased and for those in purgatory to help them get to heaven, because they can no longer help themselves once they die. But how do we know when we can stop praying for their soul? This may sound silly, but how do you know you're not wasting your prayers on someone already in heaven? Or, if you just keep praying for them, it makes it sound like you think they really need prayers and that you don't believe they are in heaven yet. Have I completely overthought this whole thing? Well, if so, what a great thing to overthink. Really. Okay, here's a cool thing. I actually asked this exact same question to Bishop Jerry Battersby, or I think we say Gerard Battersby now, in the Archdiocese of Detroit, one of the best humans I know. He said the coolest thing. He said, Joe, prayer's never wasted, ever. If you're praying for someone's soul who's already in heaven, God sends that grace somewhere else to somebody who needs it. And you know, isn't that cool? So remember that. But the other is, or if you're just praying makes it sound like you think they really need the prayers. Well, we do. Honestly, guys, we got to remember this. There is no level of goodness that you and I can achieve that will allow us to merit heaven. No level. Nobody deserves heaven except Jesus. And that's real important for us to remember. We allow Jesus we attach ourselves to, we cling to Christ. That's what gets us there. So, you know, frankly, and sorry for this, we all deserve hell. Even Mother Teresa, isn't that nuts? Why? Because the standard is perfection. And while I'm pretty close, most people aren't. They're just not as humble as I. That joke will never get old to me. Well, anyway, so pray for the dead. And if at some point, I've had this happen, I felt a sense that I don't need to fret anymore about that person, I've then changed my prayer. Gratitude to the Lord for them and asking God to help everybody else. So there we go. Was that our first question? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So now we'll do another one, and we'll go from the fattest one. Oh, no, this one. Okay. When Jesus performed miracles, why did he always say, don't tell anyone, when he knew they would? Do you know what's crazy? I literally just talked about this in my homily this morning. So if you were at Mass, you wouldn't have asked. I'm just kidding. But I did talk about it. So what's the idea? It's a couple things. First of all, it seems clear that, because Jesus flat out says this a couple times, his focus was not the physical healings. His focus was spiritual liberation. This is the reason I came to teach, right? So I think that's a lot of it, is that you and I are intrigued and blown away by miracles, and we should be, physical healing miracles. But we also need to remember that the spiritual liberation Jesus offers is much more permanent. The blind guy that he healed, he died, right? He rose Lazarus from the dead. Lazarus died. Physical miracles by their nature are always temporary. If for no other reason, then we won't need them in heaven. It is the spiritual liberation. So one of the things I try to share with people, and I share this with you, is also try to focus on reading God's word, letting thinking about God's word heal the wounds we aren't even aware of. Anyway, so I think that's what that was about. And also because they were looking for a political liberation, which you and I want to, because we're nuts. But when Jesus did these things, a couple times it says they tried to make him king. And so he slipped off because they can't make him king. He is king. but they wanted a political leader, and he wants to give us spiritual liberation. So I hope that's helpful. There, sorry, I'm in pain. Okay, so we're going to do another one here. Okay, why is Ash Wednesday not a holy day of obligation? I have no idea, and it's always struck me as weird too. Isn't that helpful? Didn't that change your life? The key is that it's not, but I tell people it is so that they'll go to church. I've actually, when someone, do I have to go to Mass on Ash Wednesday? I said, no more than Jesus had to die on the cross. So anyway, honestly, I have no idea. I've asked a ton of people who seem to know such things, and I've never heard an answer that anybody is aware of. So sorry about that. I suspect it's your fault, because it certainly couldn't be mine. But sorry, no idea. But go to church on Ash Wednesday, please, because it's a holy day of obligation. Thank you for tuning in. If you have more questions, don't forget to submit them to the Church of the Holy Family social media sites, and we will get right after them. Please continue to like these and share these. We're having a great time, and we hope you are too, and that we're all growing closer to Jesus. All right, take care.